It has been made official. Luke Fickell, the former now head coach at Cincinnati, has replaced Jim Leonard, who is the interim head coach for the Wisconsin Badgers, as after they let go of Paul Chryst earlier this season. What does this mean now for Wisconsin in a Big Ten conference with UCLA and USC coming in just a couple years and no real set fourth team outside of Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State? So Luke Fickell has been in the coaching game for a long time, going all the way back to his time at Ohio State University, where he's a defensive coordinator and ended up being the interim for 1 year in between before the Urban Meyer era took over. He then went on to Cincinnati and has been very successful there, while granted in the AAC, not facing quite the competition that Wisconsin plays on a normal basis. He still finished with four top 25 finishes. So every year that he was there, he finished with a top 25 finish, two in the top 10, the 2 years previous to this, one where he almost made the playoffs, and then obviously last year where they did make the playoffs. He won the AAC Coach of the Year twice. He has two conference championships and finishes with a record of 57-18. He is a very defensive minded head coach, which I think might surprise some Wisconsin fans in the fact they had a interim head coach in Jim Leonard who was defensive minded, but maybe Wisconsin opted for a guy who already has that experience. He is a head coach already and has been for time. Granted, again, at a G5 level, but it still is experience and he knows what he's doing. He did get his team to the playoffs. While they did not necessarily perform well there, they still made it. What is going to be intriguing is, does he bring any of his staff with him from Cincinnati? We do know that Kerry Coombs, who was with Ohio State last year as well, comes over and takes over, helping run the defense. And I believe the defensive backfield has been named the interim head coach. I'm assuming he's going to do that through at least the bowl season for Cincinnati. Does he bring that offense, which has been, okay at best, if we're being honest, with Desmond Ritter there against the competition they played? They were very good. They actually ranked right up there with Wisconsin over the past couple years. In a rate, we like to use offensive pass explosiveness to kind of show how explosive that game has been. Wisconsin with a 1.404 rating, Cincinnati 1.479 in 2021. In 2020, Wisconsin 1.485, Cincinnati 1.496. Every year that they had Desmond Ritter, they were a much better team. That is something that Wisconsin has not quite had. They believed in Graham Mertz and wanted Graham Mertz to be the guy for whatever reason. That unfortunately just did not work out. And I can't tell you that Luke Fickell is going to be able to go out there and recruit quarterbacks. He does definitely recruit a certain mold. Evan Prater, who came in a couple years ago, very much a Desmond Ritter prototype. Same with the young quarterback they recruited in the 2023 class. But Luke Fickell, the past couple years, has been very good in recruiting. This past year, they finished with a ranking of 27 overall compared to Wisconsin's 70th. Then you go back, Wisconsin has had the edge on them with Paul Chryst. 2022, Wisconsin finished with the 41th ranked class, Cincinnati 48, so it was still very close. But then 21 and 2020, you did see a pretty big separator. Wisconsin finished with the 16th ranked recruiting class, Cincinnati 45th, and then in 2020, Wisconsin of 24th, Cincinnati 41st. Again, there are some limitations in what he can do in the G5 compared to the Big Ten. Big Ten's got that big money contract now. He's going to be able to pay whomever he wants to come in likely and be his assistant coaches, and we'll see what happens with the NIL and everything else going on. But Wisconsin is a top tier school. I talked about this when Paul Chryst got fired. I do think it's best for the Big Ten when they are one of the better teams. And I do think that they can get to that fourth team on the ladder. I think it would be very fair to say right now that it's Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State as the top three. And then everybody else kind of falls in line after that. Wisconsin, with their resources, their pedigree, their school history, with the right coach and right recruiter, could very easily be that number 4 team. And I actually think Luke Fickell could be that for them. The big key will be, because I do believe he's a good recruiter, he finished with the top G5 class every single year, or the top 3 at worst. That's very good. I think he can do that in the Big Ten because he's recruited the Big Ten. While being at Cincinnati, he's recruited the Big Ten. He knows the landscape. He knows what to do up there. He interviewed for the Michigan State job, and there was another job in the Big Ten that he interviewed for. And we know he wanted to go to Ohio State. So I think he wanted to come back. He wanted to stay up in the Midwest. He gets Wisconsin. should be able to recruit. I think they can make Wisconsin the number 4 team in the Big Ten, especially with USC and UCLA coming over in just a couple years. It will be very intriguing to see. The big questions now will be, do any of the top players decommit? Do they move on? Do they enter the transfer portal now with him coming over from Cincinnati? That's something we will definitely have to watch. We will be plugged into that. We will be talking about that on YouTube channel throughout this transfer portal season, which starts on December 5th. The big one for Wisconsin, while obviously Braylon Allen, the running back, really great kid, superstar, could be the top running back drafted in the 2024 class, who did not play in their final game against Minnesota. There have been rumors swirling that he may end up entering the transfer portal and going somewhere else. I would imagine he's going to be Luke Fickell's first call to try and get him to stay there, but we will see what happens. Regardless, Luke Fickell, in my opinion, is a great hire for the Wisconsin team. He knows how to recruit offensive linemen, and he does know how to recruit defense, which I think could be a staple for this Wisconsin team. If he can get a decent quarterback in there and actually recruit some wide receivers, which was kind of Michigan's downfall, in my opinion. They did not have enough wide receivers on those teams to make plays. Wisconsin could be a very dangerous team in the very near future. Guys, if you like this kind of content, hit the like button, subscribe to this channel. We appreciate all the love that you guys give us, and make sure to pay attention. Hit that bell icon, because transfer portal is already going crazy. We've already had a bunch of other coaches signing in new places. If you want to get all this college information from us, that bell will let you know when these videos drop. Everybody have yourselves a great and safe weekend, and we will talk to you guys again soon.